Marketing is not about being the loudest. Marketing is about resonating the deepest. In this modern, high-paced, high-demanding digital world of endless, infinite noise, the brands that stand out are the ones that resonate, not shout. I get it. Sales just wants to just move and make things happen and scream at the top of your lungs. But marketing, at its core, it's nurturing, it's relationship building, it's guiding people to resolve on their own merit and their own decision abilities. It's perception, it's persuasion, ethically, preferably, in a way that moves people to act, not scream and shout at people long enough and loud enough in the hopes that they will do so. Many times, though, people say resonating deeply, but what does that even mean? Resonating deeply means aligning with your audience's core values. Now, keep in mind, if you've done the deep work, your core values will align with your ideal audience's core values, and there will be no conflict. In addition to that, it needs to align with their emotions and their aspirations, rather than simply trying to be the loudest in every single room, on every single platform. You're competing with too much time, stories, data, and emotions to be the loudest in the room. It's irrelevant, and it's not going to help you. Now, Troy, what is the difference between making noise and making meaningful connections? Noise is all about marketing tactics that prioritize visibility, here's the asterisk, at all costs. Some examples of that would be extremely invasive advertising, clickbait headlines, no shade, don't come from the messenger, influencer-driven hype at times. And in these type of engagements, you're probably lacking emotional depth. On the flip side, when we're talking about meaningful connections, we're about establishing emotional relevance and trust with your audience through authenticity, storytelling, and value-driven content. Listen, today's sales leaders know their expectations are at an all-time high. Beyond the cold calling and closing deals, sales teams are expected to leverage a slew of different tech to do things like dig into the numbers, quickly switch up strategies, and collab across teams. But there's such a better way to win. It all starts with the new HubSpot Sales Hub. HubSpot Sales Hub unifies your data, your tools, and your teams inside a smart and powerful platform. There's a new prospecting workspace, deal management tools, AI-powered tools that help reps optimize based off of real-time results. And bonus points, the reps can automate their busy workflows so they can focus on doing what they do best, closing them deals. It's smart software for smart sales teams that feels really good to use. To me, it sounds like a smart situation. With Sales Hub, closing deals is no big deal, no biggie. Try it for yourself at HubSpot.com/sales. You know, we hear all the time of how brands, instead of long-term value, long-term impact, and what do I say? Sustainability. You want to achieve sustainability first, and then you want to scale. Not scale first and hope sustainability comes by itself. It's always about building relationships. I think of my good long-term friend and big sis, Jessica Phillips, who is the relationship marketing expert that I know and I love and I appreciate. And she echoes this all the time. If you're not in it for the relationship, don't do it. The relationship, as I've said plenty of times before on this podcast, is pandemic proof, is hard times proof, is are we going to hear our quarter numbers proof? Because no matter what situation you're in, whether you're on the high or you're on the low, you're in abundance or you're in scarcity, that relationship doesn't lose its value. The relationship is stronger than cryptocurrency. Okay, can we talk about it? Having a multitude of strong tied relationships is what's going to amplify not only your value exponentially, but it's going to expand the depth in the field and the trust currency you have within your marketing ecosystem to have the best odds to be successful, sustainable, and scalable. So, on this episode, we're going to break down what it means to stop making noise and start bringing the value to the forefront.
What's up, digital world? You're listening to the I Digress audio experience with Troy Sandidge. Social media, marketing, storytelling, business, culture, and more. Coming to you in 3, 2, 1.
One of the most dynamic things we need to understand, we need to remember and not forget when it comes to marketing in this modern day era is understanding the core of resonance in marketing. Now, what does resonance mean? Resonance is a deep emotional or cognitive alignment between the brand and the consumer. It's when your message reflects the personal values or beliefs of your audience that evokes trust, that builds loyalty, and brings emotional attachment. Now, on the flip side, when we have this high volume play, high volume distribution of content, email, of paid ads, dealing with volume is the sheer amount of exposure a brand gets. And that could be through, again, advertising spend, high frequency of postings we already talked about, or dare I say, pursuing viral campaigns. But I digress. But here's the thing. Volume does not, I repeat, volume does not, will not, cannot guarantee connection. It just guarantees that more people have the potential to see you. Again, resonance is a deep emotional or cognitive alignment, which may take more time. Volume of itself is just outputting an X amount of number of content and touch points. Now, we can use volume in the right context to enhance our resonance. And that's making sure the volume of output aligns with what the consumer can absorb without rejecting it, while simultaneously touching base with our existing audience, as well as attracting a wider net audience, all in the same flow that feels concise, that feels connected, that feels on brand. Easier said than done. Now, Troy, why does emotional connection matter more than just exposure? You see, when we play the volume card and don't add the resonance and the relationship within that context as we're distributing content, we unfortunately are so blindsided by exposure being the gateway to profitability, to bigger community, to bigger opportunities. And that is not the case. Yes, we want exposure. Do not get me wrong. We need a certain level of exposure to garnish awareness that drives attention, that drives attraction, that drives audience, that drives attribution, that drives conversion, that drives profitability. We do need exposure. But if we're on the hamster wheel and all we're getting is exposure for a long stretch of time, and we're not building relationships, and we're not driving conversions, and we're not getting profitability, and we're not seeing none of our goals happening, we're trapped in this cycle. We must break it. Truth, Lies, and Workplace Culture is brought to you by the HubSpot Podcast Network, the audio destination for business professionals. Join husband and wife team, Al and Leanne, as they dispel myths, impart wisdom, and answer all your questions about finding, keeping, and motivating great people. The show has a unique blend of theory and practice, which helps business owners and leaders simplify consumer psychology. It's all about exploring what makes people tick. Each episode delivers actionable insights and practical steps to create toxic-free workplaces that prioritize employee well-being and enable sustainable growth to build a thriving workplace. Did we mention the hosts are also a married couple? This makes for some very lively and informative discussions. Listen to Truth, Lies, and Workplace Culture wherever you get your podcasts. Now, emotional connection fosters loyalty. It also fosters retention, and it activates advocacy. Now, according to studies, 64% of consumers cite shared values as their primary reason they have a relationship with a brand. Now, you don't have to be a consumer brand. You don't have to be the next Apple of the world to have an emotional connection. We have emotional connections to things that are intangible, something we can't hold in our hands. And we stay loyal to those brands in that way. And in a similar fashion, you can create that dynamic as well. On the flip side, when we're navigating exposure, yes, might bring awareness, but emotional resonance brings engagement. And long-term engagement leads to sustainable business growth. If you're only focused on the short-term wins with short-term metrics and short-term goals, don't expect your business to be a long-term investment. It won't, because everything you built around the business is not made with a strong foundation. It was a quick fix, quick build. You build up, you gain what you can, you bro down. Just like the South Park episode, but I digress. When we're looking at this from the right lens, it's through the lens of the psychological impact of resonance. Resonance is rooted in human psychology. It's about tapping into the limbic system, which is the emotions and the memory, rather than just appealing to logic. The neocortex. I know we just went deep for a second, but stay with me. When you resonate, you're building emotional memories. Ooh. Hold on now. When we're resonating, we are literally building emotional memories with our audience. Now, how would you like to create memories with your audience and they're positive and they're in a way where this product or this service or this content from this person, from this creator, from this brand resonates so much with me? I now have established a core memory within my brain that also released dopamine of this is good. I must do more of this. I must use this product more. I must listen or watch or consume this content more. Maybe that's I digress, but I digress. I must engage with this content more because it's giving me a good, positive reinforcement thing that I must have because it fits my life or my business or my need or my demand of content or my sense of security or my enhancement of education or whatever the case might be. Insert what it is here. The key takeaway here is that brands that trigger positive emotions, the joy, the hope, the inspiration, the motivation, are 2 to 3 times more likely to be remembered than those that only focus on exposure or rational messaging. It's knowing how to use volume to your benefit to resonate more, to build that emotional connection within the limbic system of their brain. Yes, we can appeal to their logic in the neocortex, but when we can double appeal and hit their emotional triggers, that will succeed logic in many ways to help reduce the friction, reduce the walls, reduce the naysaying, to amplify the yesing. So we can win more of the community, more of the value, more of the business opportunities in front of us. This is why focusing on what resonates is key. Why making meaningful connections is better than just making noise. Because when you're making just noise, you get lost in it. You sound like everybody else. You're not making sense. I can't understand what you're saying. If I can't understand your language, I can't understand you. If I can't understand you, I will never engage with you. If I don't engage with you, I don't trust you. If I don't trust you, I don't buy from you. It's pretty simple. It's pretty clear. So ask yourself, yes, Q4 is here now. We got Thanksgiving, we got Christmas, we got all the random internet holidays, we got all the different stretches for Q4 is going to bring. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, all those things. And people plan for this stuff now, if they haven't planned for it all summer already. You building the roadmap of how you're going to approach this. What do I always say? Do not build a roadmap, build a GPS. How are you going to navigate? How are you going to resonate with your audience in Q4? Are we tracking the right metrics that would quantify and validate we're moving in the right direction instead of following the same metrics that are reconfirming we're just making noise and nothing else? So hopefully you have grasped the core of resonance in marketing and why it matters, why it's so critically important, and what we need to go and do from there.
And that's a wrap. We hope you enjoyed this episode of I Digress. What was your takeaway? Care to share your thoughts and tag Troy on social media? You can find him on all platforms at Find Troy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review or comment for this episode from wherever you're listening. Looking for a marketing strategist to build the structure, strategies, and systems you need to get the success you want and the ROI you desire in your business? Book a discovery call to talk with Troy at findtroy.com. And as Troy's philosophy goes, imagination is the engine, content is the fuel, social media is the highway, marketing is the roadmap, sales is the destination, culture is the GPS. Thanks for listening.